I was once speaking to a very respected marriage therapist here in Muncie. He said the greatest compliment I ever get in my work is that both the husband and the wife feel that I'm on their side. The point is, you can only bring them together if two things happen. You're on neither side, and therefore you're on both sides. You're on her side and on his side. You need to bring together the two worlds. You can't take sides. It's a great joke about this brother. He moves into his sister and his brother-in-law's home. The problem is they have a studio apartment. So they barely have one bedroom and another half a bedroom. And this brother is a bachelor and he doesn't have a job. So he's just there with them for days and weeks and months. In the beginning they enjoyed it, but after a while it just became too stressful. So finally, in desperation, this husband and wife decide they're gonna make a shpil. That night during dinner, the husband is gonna start eating the soup. And instead of telling his wife the soup is delicious, as he would usually do, he's gonna tell his wife, the soup is so salty, it's horrible. And they're gonna get into a huge war about the soup. He's gonna say that the soup is horrible, and she's gonna say that the soup is splendid. And in the midst of the conflict, one of them is gonna turn to her brother and say, what is your opinion about the soup? And whoever he agrees with, the other one will throw him out of the house. And because it's done in a time of heated passion and conflict and argument, somehow it will be accepted. This is what you do when you're desperate. Anyway, dinner time comes, and she serves the soup, and her husband starts eating the soup. Honey, usually you're good, but tonight you really struck out. Such horrific soup I've never tasted in my life. She's like, what are you talking about? And he's like, it's salty, it's disgusting, it's repulsive. And she's like, you know nothing about food, and you don't know how to compliment me. Anyway, they're getting into this whole fight. A third world war breaks out in the house. Of course, it's all fake. And at some point, it's the moment of truth, the moment they've been waiting for. He turns to his brother-in-law and he says, what's your opinion about the soup? And the brother-in-law looks at his sister, looks at his brother-in-law, and in a very quiet, soothing voice, he says, I'll be honest with you. I have to live here for another few months. I can't take any sides. If I want to be a peacemaker, if I want to be an ambassador of peace, I cannot get stuck in either side, because then I become part of the problem rather than being part of the solution. I have to be able to see the bigger picture. I can't sit down and convince the husband, you're wrong, or tell the wife, you're wrong and he's right. You lost the plot. Obviously, there has to be goodwill on both sides. There has to be an openness. If I'm just going to tenaciously cling to my stubbornness because of my own traumas and insecurities, and I'm not open to this, so then I'm not open. But if I'm open to listening, if I at least want, if I'm frustrated to the point that at least I want to grow, I want to change, I want to have a better life, I want to have a happier home. So then I can be open to this, create a space where there's a klal that they can both be subsumed, and then they can transcend the individual space that creates conflict, and that's what bittul is. The Rabbi says in the Torah, a relationship between a husband and a wife is a relationship between water and fire. That's why at a wedding, the minhag is, you lift up the chassan on the shoulders, you lift up the kala on a chair. I always thought it was just a cute thing. And you know what the Rabbi says? He says, no, it's essential. Because only when you lift them up to a higher place that's larger than the individual dimensions of fire and water can they become integrated. And not only are they living together, but they become synthesized and they become something much larger than they are individually.
TheYeshiva.net